Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please, no long introduction. Let's get right into this. This video is going to be very short, but this video is very important. So after doing a live this morning and talking about the Vybz Kartel situation and the decision that the judge is about to make today around, say, 2 p.m., it came to my attention that this might not go the way how we intended for it to go. Now, I had to go do some research real quick and look up and see who Justice Andrea Thomas is. And I realized who she is. I've inserted pictures of her in this slide so you can see her personally, get a feel for the person. Even though you can't judge a book by its cover just by looking at it, I get a certain kind of vibe, right? Now, back to what I really want to talk about. A banter went on in court yesterday, which is a back and forth conversation, more like an argument, but on a more subtle professional level between Isat Buchanan, who is representing Vybz Kartel, and the judge. Now, in that, while that is happening, it says that, Buchanan said that the habeas corpus application is not a contentious one, but it's before the courts because of a lacuna in the law, which is depriving the guys of their liberty. And he's citing that the apex court's decision more than 2 months ago, this should have followed. So the apex courts being the courts, the Privy Council court, the highest court, they made a decision to quash the convictions. And in quashing of the convictions, you would have thought that the convictions are quashed, meaning the guys were free to go, right? And if Jamaica justice system wanted to try them again, then they would have to go through the appeals court, and the appeals court would decide if they wanted to try them again, which was understood by all of us. But whatever lacuna there is in the law, that has left up for interpretation, where they can now play games with these guys' freedom, and even though their conviction is quashed, they still find themselves behind bars. Yes, they are facing charges because they are still accused, but the courts of appeals must decide if there should be a new trial where they will prosecute them and try to get a conviction, or if they will kill the case altogether. I believe that the Privy Council's intention was to let them go when they used the word quash. Quash meaning null, void, should not have been, has no merit, it's no good, has no legs to stand on. You see what I'm saying with this? It can't go any further, and it was never good from the beginning. It was like it never happened. That kind of thing. That kind of ruling would have returned Vybz Kartel, Sean Stump, Kahira Jones, and Audrey St. John back to being innocent, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens who stand accused of a crime, not people who were convicted. So in the eyes of the law, they are just accused. Now, what does the court system normally do once somebody is accused of, say, a murder? They must now put together a solid case and take the case to court and try to get a conviction. You understand? Because the first one was overturned. So therefore, these guys should not still be incarcerated. Now, the argument or the back and forth that went between the judge and Isat Buchanan kind of has me thinking that the judge has already made her decision, and the decision might not be good. We will see later on if I was right. The principle we submit is very straightforward, said Isat Buchanan. In the absence of an order from the Privy Council or the Court of Appeal, and we are submitting strongly, my lady, there is nothing in place for the continued detention of the applicants before you. There's nothing in place to continue to hold these guys in lockup. Nothing on the books. No law that is there to back holding them in lockup. Nothing in law, nothing that Parliament has even contemplated, and that is why we are here before you, Isat Buchanan said. I want y'all to follow this speech. Isat Buchanan then told the courts that he asked by way of a letter to the Department of Corrections Services, or DCS, They are the first respondents on this application. On what authority the men were still detained? So he asked the correctional services, why are they still detained? The correctional services don't know why they are still detained. The correctional services said, go to the courts. The courts will tell you why. We don't know why. We just locking them up because that's what we do. The Attorney General and the Office of the District of Public Prosecution, or the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, they are respectively the second and third respondents on this case. At this point, we have fanciful theoretical suggestions of what, at best, this court can try to find or create a law to say that the men are detained legally following a quashed conviction. I would submit that is not the state of the law and that this court should reject it, Isat Buchanan said. Fanciful theatrical suggestions is all they could come up with, but there is no law that would hold these men behind bars after a quashed conviction. In other words, then, the Jamaica judicial system is acting out of pocket. This is a human rights violation, if you ask me. Isat Buchanan told Justice Thomas that based on current legislations, it was within her merit, if mindful, to release the men unconditionally or in contemplation of the hearing before the Court of Appeal, because there is a hearing that's coming up before the Court of Appeal that should start on, I believe it was sometime the 10th or so of June. This is about just getting bail because their convictions were quashed. Conditions would look like bound to appear at their hearing, and that gives the court the authority to extend what order you give in light of what is before the court, as Buchanan said, right? Because the court still has to decide if they're going to go back to trial or if they're going to throw out the case completely and call it a day. Isat Buchanan stressed that the sentencing no longer exists because it was quashed and that the men were no longer viewed as convicts. So why are they behind bars still? To fit their current situation now. And I am referring to the lacuna in the law, the Privy Council decision at this point of retrial. There is nothing in the law that can address that situation. We would have to perform some magical sort of construction to say it looks like this or it looks like that. Feel free to school me on that, my lady, because that is why I am before you, Isat Buchanan said. This is a very well read, highly intelligent attorney, Isat Buchanan, who is making his case before the judge to say these guys need to be free on bail, and there is absolutely nothing in the law books that backs or gives the state rights to be holding these men after their conviction was quashed at the apex court at the Privy Council level. School me. He said, feel free to school me on that. Feel free to school me on that. Could be some law jargon, as someone tried to point out to me, but it means the same thing out here in the real world. It means tell me something I don't know, because obviously something must exist somewhere I don't know about. So since you are the judge, I come before you, so please school me. Show me where anything in the law says. Show me the justification of why you all are still holding these men behind bars and why they cannot be out on bail. The judge replied and said, you will be schooled in the judgment tomorrow. People, if she says you will be schooled in the judgment tomorrow, and you all will be schooled, Justice Thomas said, that tells me that this judge already made up her mind that she is not going to let them out. She's not going to grant their freedom for bail. because she is coming back saying you will be schooled in the judgment tomorrow. The man said we would have to perform some magical sort of construction to say it looks like this or it looks like that within the law. Because there's nothing that exists in the law right now that justifies them still being locked up. So, Your Honor, please feel free to school me on that, my lady, because this is why I'm here before you. And she replied and said, you will be schooled in the judgment tomorrow. People, this is the part that made me realize that this is going to be a hell of an uphill fight for freedom. I will be very surprised today if that judge rules that Vybz Kartel walks out on bail. Yes, I am hoping that he does, right? Y'all know me. I've been doing this for years. We've been calling for freedom for years. We've been saying that that case was heavily tainted and heavily butchered and put together for years. And it took going all the way to the Privy Council and 12 years in order for them to put that thing to rest and call it quashed. And here we are again, them acting as if they don't have any sense and don't know what quashed means and are debating if the guys should be let go. Common sense would tell us that quashed means they get to walk and the state still has the right to go before the appeal court to formulate, put together a reason they should have a retrial and go back to court again. But there is nothing that says that they should continue to be locked up behind bars until the state decides if they want a retrial again. Nothing. Nothing. But I said this before and I'll say this again. This is Jamaica. And this is a system where behind closed doors, it is a concerted effort to keep certain people, let me talk straight. It is a concerted effort to keep Vybz Kartel right where he is at. It's a concerted effort to keep him and his co-accused right where they are at. It is a concerted effort to have a guilty verdict and to have him viewed as a convicted killer and to have him serve at least 35 years before he is eligible for parole. And they will do every and anything in their powers to make sure he doesn't set foot back on road no time soon. It's absolute wickedness and level of ignorance. These people are acting like they needed the apex court, as Isat called it. They needed the Privy Council to say, conviction quashed, let them out now. But because the Privy Council only said conviction quashed and did not say let them out now, they are taking that little loophole to say, well, they said conviction quashed, but they didn't say let them out now, so we're not letting them out now. But conviction quashed means let them out now. Watch and see what happens today. I'm paying attention to it. You should too. Come back to this video after the verdict or the decision is made by the judge and see if I was right about what I said. Judge, we have eyes on you. Today, my friend, Your Honor, we will know you, Justice Andrea Thomas, to be somebody who is truly of justice or somebody who is going along and playing along as a part of the orchestration from behind the scenes to continue to double down on wrong and continue to do wrong and try to make wrong look right. Leave your comments in the comment section below and I'll catch you on the video on other videos later on. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.